And I want to just start by asking you if you've been able to get answers about this from officials. We've obviously seen attempts to do that today.
Yes, ma'am, I have, and I may be able to shed some light on some facts and factors that, as the chairman of government operations for oversight for government reform on government operations, we have requested very specific information and received it. Now, I will give that to you now as I read it. The National Weather Service, NWS, was reporting early and consistent warnings beginning Wednesday, July 2nd. It was escalated with urgency beginning at 1:14 a.m. Friday, July the 4th, using amber alerts. The situation is the staffing for the San Angelo office, which has also experienced excessive flooding. It was fully staffed with 12 forecast meteorologists at the time. The San Antonio office operated with 11 forecasters, only one vacancy. And the union feedback was that they believed that adequate resources were available. The sheriff's office in Kerr County, 201 minutes of lead time before the sheriff's office reported flooding at low water crossings, which means they were aware, but they did not report any increase in water on low water crossings at 4:35 a.m. 270 minutes after that first warning came, the sheriff called for an emergency at 5:34 a.m., which is virtually in the middle of this, because it happened so immediately. It is important to note that most people turn their phones off at night. It is important to note that the rules of the camp did not allow the campers to have phones or iPhones that they would pay attention to. This is an unfortunate incident that happened literally over a 30-minute period of time. And so I hope that some of these facts that I have been given point to the distress that comes from what was a high-level system weather-wise, then turned into low, meaning it was 45,000 feet, then dropped down to the 15-foot or so level, and then just inundated them with this excessive water that happened. And it just happened so rapidly. So I think that while we're not trying to do anything more than provide the information that I have been provided, I would say to you this tragedy happened because of the excessive amount of water that fell within a 45-minute or less time frame that caused the worst flooding I have ever seen in my life that went over 100 miles.
So, sir, you just said, and I appreciate you giving us the readout of what you've received. So you just said that an Amber Alert went out after that 1 a.m. National Weather Service alert. So you can confirm that residents were sent messages telling them to evacuate?
I can confirm that the National Weather Service issued that according to this. Yes, I can. And that evidently the sheriff received this at 5:34 a.m. As I understand it. Once again, they had units that were out as early as 4:35 looking for low water crossing, looking for water that may have increased. And then at 5:35, they then evidently did see this excessive or a lot of water. So That's the information I've been provided. It's subject, obviously, to any verification, but I think if we put the information out there, then people can then shoot at it as they need to. But that's the information I've been provided as a result of being the chairman of the subcommittee.
Well, I very much appreciate that, sir. I appreciate what you said also about the staffing. You said that there were 12 forecast folks in the San Angelo office, 11 in San Antonio. We did speak here on CNN with a former NOAA administrator, and I want to play what he said to my colleague Kate Baldwin, because then I just would like to clarify a little bit of what you're laying out for us. Let's watch this.
The lack of a warning coordination meteorologist, a critical position in the Austin-San Antonio Weather Forecast Office, suggests perhaps that part of the reason for the inability of emergency managers to communicate with the Weather Forecast Office through the systems you alluded to may be attributable to the fact that there was nobody in that position. The individual who had that position took one of the retirements that the administration had offered up a couple of months ago.
This position, of course, the meteorologist that is charged with overtime in not crisis times, building the kinds of relationships that are necessary to give warnings. So do you take from that that the cuts from DOGE had a direct impact, perhaps, on the ability of officials to respond to this disaster?
Let me say this. If I did believe that, I would tell you. I believe that what happened is that this was such an enormous event that happened so rapidly. It's one thing to receive a warning at 1 o'clock in the morning, perhaps to go check, and then nothing had occurred. Once again, it was a rapid entry, and so all I can tell you is perhaps you have to be a specialty meteorologist to see what's going on. I don't know enough about it. I've taken some meteorology courses, but there were 11 people there that could have guided each other. The problem was not the National Weather Service. The problem was the intensity of the rain somewhere between around 5 o'clock in the morning when people were asleep. I think we have already noted, although I have not gone into this end of it, it's really on the state of Texas, that the county did not have warning signals that would be permissible that you could hear if you had your phone off. The alerts did come, but if your phone is off, you cannot hear it. And they are far enough out in the country, so to speak, that if no one's listening, if no one's aware, it's a problem. Maybe we will find out, and I'm sure that we will, that a sheriff's deputy attempted to contact the camps. But once again, these are people up and down the river that were in not just the girls that were campers. There's a Boy Scout camp there too, and we've not heard much about that. So I'm trying to find out, is there some alert that they knew about for some reason? So all of this is still a mystery, and I will tell you why, and you will get this as a parent. Everything is turned to saving people, not trying to pick apart the facts of the case. The facts of the case will be readily available, and the governor is deep into that. Our governor is on this issue, and I am too, and we will make sure that when the federal government did not respond or do the correct thing or needs to make some evaluation or change, I will be a voice calling for that. As the chairman of the subcommittee, and James Comer, who is our chairman, he and I, neither one are afraid to say there's a problem. And it just so rapidly happened.